And a lot of people were hating on the Braves with their slow start, and a lot of people were hating on the shortstop position specifically. And in one night, Chris, Ha-Seong Kim did what no other shortstop was able to do as the Braves do rally after being no hit for 6 innings to win 5-1, avoiding the sweep in Chicago.
I think it would be easy to say he just doubled the home run total for shortstops for the entire season, but that wouldn't be accurate because you can't really double zero. You would have had to have 1 to hit 2 to then double it up. So it went from 0 to 1, 29 RBI. When you look at Nick Allen and you look at the 9 RBI or 8 RBI that Kim has in limited action this year, we're up to 1 home run, 29 RBI if you actually pool them all together as we sit here in the first week in September.
In 2 games, Ha-Seong Kim at shortstop has 3 hits, that home run, 3 RBIs with that 3-run shot. 1 home run, only 2 RBIs, and 53 at-bats for Tampa as they cut him loose. And it's off to a rousing start, albeit only 2 games, but off to a rousing start. But as you just said, with the numbers you gave offensively at shortstop prior to Kim, there was no place to go but up for the Braves.
The only thing he didn't do, and I don't know if Kangaroo Court still exists, but it's $100. He didn't wave, do the flapping thing to the bullpen. I'm sure he was told about it. I don't think he's missed a sign yet down at third base, but I do think that one's going to cost him $100.
We're going to think about it.
Let me tell you what we do around here, Kim. I think they have to express that. Look, he had a big grin on his face as he rounded the bases.
I didn't
Everybody in the
realize how big
dugout.
he was.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
He's put together. Yeah, I don't think he's overly big.
That's what I meant. He's thick.
Yeah, he's not third baseman big, like where you go, that guy can't play shortstop.
No, but you look at Nick Allen,
around.
of course, everybody's going to look big next to Nick Allen.
Yeah.
It's not saying much.
I don't want to say that's the problem. Nick Allen's not my guy. He's not my boy, but let's just be kind to Nick Allen.
Well, it's not Nick Allen's fault necessarily. Here is Snit talking about his new shortstop.
Well, it's our first homer from a shortstop all year. No, it's good. He's had some really good at-bats, played a really nice game defense, so it's good. I mean, it's very encouraging to see that.
So Nick Allen started 123 of the 138 games. I have to give these numbers. I have to because finally it came through, the shortstop position with power last night. So of those 138 games with Nick Allen, again, starting 123, the Braves had a .217 average from that position, a .249 slugging percentage, 48 points below Major League Baseball's next lowest, and the .524 OPS at shortstop, easily the worst in the majors. That's why a move had to be made.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to, pee into anybody's Cheerios here, but he is rep by Scott Boras, and I can't say this enough. Look, does it feel like next year, if it's a 1-year deal, great. I'll take Kim if he's healthy for $16 million relative to signing a guy for 5, 6, 7 for $150. No doubt about it.
How do you feel about 2 years and $25 million? That might be tough to get by Scott Boras if you want to play the Chris Sale game that you did with him when you traded for him, got him from Boston.
I think based upon how they drafted, estimated time of arrival, 2027 for whichever one of these shortstops takes the lead in the next 2 years in the minor leagues. They drafted a shortstop of the future. They drafted a few of them. They're going to have a choice, and let's see who takes the lead in the minor leagues, which I can't care about right now. Like, I can't care about 2027. I'm trying to get my mind around 2026. But Scott Boras is either going to play the mystery team. This idea that he's just simply going to opt in, yeah, I'd like to believe that's going to happen. I'd like to believe the welcome he got in the dugout. He wants to be here. Well, Scott Boras doesn't really, at the very beginning of anything, care what the player wants. He's trying to get the player the most money. Then he tells him, this is what you should care about. I'm not sure it's going to be as simple as that. Would I like a 2-year deal? If he is healthy, absolutely.
If he plays this way the rest of the way, a 2-year, $25 million deal, when you think about what the going rate is at shortstop, seems more than fair.
But you're also telling me I'm going to take a step down from my AAV. Why is Scott Boras going to accept a deal that, while it's totaling more,
I'm talking about
a step down in his AAV? Remember, this guy was supposed to get 5 and 100, 6 and 100. He didn't get that.
No, I'm talking about from the Braves' perspective. Obviously, Scott Boras isn't going to feel that way.
Well, the Braves can have whatever perspective they want, and then they have to fax it over.
I understand that. What I'm saying, though, is as a fan as well, you got to think if he comes to terms on a deal like that, 2 years, $25 million.
All day.
I mean, that's not even anything to think about.
Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Scott Boras is going to dangle the idea that, look at my guy's age. Look at the shortstop market. I'm still giving you a bargain on a 3 or a 4-year deal. I don't know if any of that's going to happen. He's got to prove he could stay healthy. But I'm just telling you, this Scott Boras thing. People then tried to tell me, oh, Jurickson Profar is a Boras agent. No, he's not. He dropped him. He dropped him. He didn't. He didn't sign with us for $42 million with Scott Boras as his agent. Scott Boras used to be his agent. So I'm just telling you, this might get a little bit trickier because we don't like Scott Boras. We don't do deals with Scott Boras. Scott Boras is looking to either take it to the wire. Remember, that's what he also does. March deals. Or I get the longest deal possible for my guy.
But in the here and now, it is working out through 2 games at shortstop. Ozzie Albies also coming around and homering now from the right side of the plate. So everybody is now talking about perhaps him finally being healthy. Home runs now on consecutive nights. He also broke up the no-hit bid with a base hit in the 7th inning. And Snit, once again, as he's been talking about him a lot as of late because he's been playing better, talks about his second baseman.
No, he's been hitting really well, and he's back right-handed. I mean, he had a rough go for whatever reason early on, but he's back to being, Ozzie from the right side. But his bat's been, a lot better. Like I said, Ozzie always never stops believing in himself to get it going, and he's on a nice little run too.
So he was always a bad ball hitter, but now he's hitting the bad balls and he's driving the bad balls, which leads you to believe something was wrong, as in he wasn't healthy yet, and now he looks like he finally is.
Or it might have been a health thing, and he maybe was making compensations in his swing, maybe what he was doing with his hands, and maybe now health will actually lead to him going back to, I don't want to say the basics, but he's had a good month. This is sort of a really good 2 weeks, but it's been a good month because he went, you can't roll out 800 plate appearances and say, well, that was nothing. That's 800 plate appearances. He had a bad year plus, like a really bad offensive year plus. If he's coming around, it's just going to make the $7 million pickup that much easier.
Now, what am I supposed to say about Bryce Elder? Because every time I want to bury this guy, he shuts my mouth.
Well, what did I tell you he did after he took that ass kicking? He went out to the outfield and he ran. And I tried to tell you, look, it wasn't a big deal.
You did warn me.
I fist bumped him.
Man's out there jogging.
I fist bumped him as he was walking out there. I fist bumped him when he was done. And the man, since he went running, not jogging, he was sprinting. He was doing his work. He had his meter around his chest. He had his phone out looking at the numbers. And the last 3 starts, again, don't discount that outfield run when you're feeling bad about yourself.
He's been magnificent in his last 3 starts. 1.35 ERA, 3 earned runs, 10 hits in 20 innings, goes 7, 101 pitches last night, doesn't walk anybody, and strikes out 6. I think he could have kept going. The way that 7th inning went, he hardly broke a sweat in that 7th inning.
Yeah, we got, I don't want to say lucky, but they decided to pull their guy after 75 because they're trying to protect him for what they believe is going to be the postseason.
Even though he was throwing a no-hitter.
Yeah.
And the 1 run he allowed last night, Bryce Elder, unearned, because I'm not really sure what Eli White was doing on that play.
I don't know.
That allowed a runner to go to second. I'm still not clear on that.
I think there was a lot of wind last
These things
night.
happen, I guess.
I think wind was swirling all over the place that made things really treacherous.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Here is Bryce Elder talking about his performance last night.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Even though I was giving up runs there for a little while, I think I talked about kind of my job here is just to keep eating innings. If I give up some runs and make it to the 6th or 7th, I did my job, give us a chance. And then now I think I've been making pitches like I was, and I'm getting some breaks and making more pitches when I need to. So I'm happy about being able to go 7 again.
Now, why is his ERA still through the roof, 5.54? You think about this. 6 of his last 10 starts, 2 or fewer runs, and he went 6 or more in all of those starts. But the problem is 2 8-run outings within that stretch.
Yeah.
So that's the time I want to bury him, and that's the time he starts to shut my mouth. Every time I want to put dirt on the cowboy, Bryce Elder. Yeah, comes out from the dirt. That hand comes out from the dirt. I'm still alive!
You've tried to RIP him a couple of times.
Yeah, I did.
There's no doubt about it. I told you, though. When he went running that day, after he got his ass kicked, you go, you know what he is? He's a worker. Now, again, do I want to necessarily say that if I'm in the postseason, Bryce Elder gets the ball from me first, second, or third? I'm not at that point.
Yeah, let's not get nuts.
But I am telling you, he's going to have the most starts and most innings pitched for anybody on this staff. And I kind of like the fact that last night happened because he said, look, if I give up a few runs, that's 3 in my world, but I go 6, I sort of done my job. I don't want him to think that way. I think that's a negative approach. I hope now what last night did, and maybe these last 3 starts have done, is why do you have to give up 3? Maybe get that out of your head. Maybe he was fatalist in a little bit of a way. Stop thinking like that. You can go 5, 6 and give up 1. You can give up 2. You might give up 3, and nobody's going to yell about 3. But if you can be better than that, be better than that.
If you have this guy as a 5th starter, the guy that we have seen in the last 3 starts, everybody's going to be happy. But I guess you're a 5th starter, so you're going to have some clunkers as well. He's been the most consistent guy this year, which is horrifying when it comes to eating innings, Bryce Elder.
Yes.
And that's maybe why another reason when you put forth a number of reasons as to why they're 63 and 77.
So I'm also going to tell you, again, people don't really want to deal with the business, and neither do I. He has an option. Joey Wentz does. Joey Wentz doesn't. So if you're trying to figure out if you'd like him to be a back end guy, Joey Wentz going to the bullpen is the thing that's going to happen.
So the meter keeps moving on. Raisel Iglesias, he gets another save, works around a couple of walks. He was the reliever of the month for August. And since July the 28th, 17 appearances, 0.53 ERA, 1 run in 17 innings, 16 strikeouts. So is the meter moving in the other direction now, as in someone's going to offer him a lot more money because of the way he's pitching?
I don't know about a lot more. I think the Braves would be reasonable if they want him back.
Well, when I say a lot more, you brought this up yesterday, a lot more in regards to it being not just a one-year deal.
That's what's going to happen. And I don't know if you can get a mutual. He might actually get a straight multi-year deal, and I don't care how old he is, because there are teams that are starved. Let me tell you something. If you let's just go with $9 or $10 million. Let's just use that. And he might ask for more, might get more. But at $9 or $10 million, if he has that little bit of a stretch, that bump, him being a 7th or 8th guy for a part that he might not be going well might actually be the thing that you look for. And I'm not paying him $19 million. I'm not paying him $16 million. I'm paying him $9 or $10 million, which means if he goes through a little bit of a stretch and I have to bump him down to being an 8th inning guy to get him back or do whatever it is to get him healthy, I could afford to do that. Again, as long as my offense is good enough, as long as the guy that I put in maybe for a 2-week period is not a total bust, there are concessions you can make with a guy like that because he's a closer. He is a closer.
That's his job.
He can ask for closer money. His age is going to sort of, but Kenley Jansen keeps getting paid. Chapman's a freak. He already got his money. That guy's 15 years in throwing 100 miles an hour. He's just a freak.
But he's going to get paid. I was going to say, he was a guy that struggled. Now he's not. And like quarterbacks in the NFL, all it takes is one team, and there's always that one team that seemingly cannot help themselves when it comes to overpaying for somebody.
The guy up in New York, Diaz is done on his deal, so he can be. And there's a couple other guys who have opt-ins, and we'll find out what the rest of the closing market does. And Iglesias could be a guy who either signs quickly and says, that's settled, 2-year deal, I'm done, the team is done. Or he could be one of those guys that, quite honestly, he could linger around through February.
Then there's the question
looking for the team who realizes in spring training, we don't really have a closer.
There's the question of Ronald Acuña Jr., 0 for 4 again last night. On the road trip, 3 for 35, including in the last 8 games, 1 for 27 with 5 walks and 9 strikeouts. Now, 4 of those walks came in one game at Miami. He's at 188 with 2 doubles, a homer, 21 strikeouts in 19 games since returning from that Achilles/calf situation. A complete non-factor, but this is going to happen. And it goes back to him hitting the ball out of the park. The very first swing when he came back from the knee injury, everybody thought he was back. No, everybody in this game is going to have peaks and valleys. Everybody, including him.
Yeah, the idea that there's going to be talk again, well, maybe he's just not comfortable hitting third. Maybe there's a mindset part. Maybe there's a physical part, because those numbers since he came back, I don't know if he can't get drive. I don't know if he doesn't trust it. A lot of people are sort of saying, hey, he looks like a guy who's not really running in the outfield the way he was.
And he led off last night 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. And you talked about running in the outfield. A couple of people, Dave O'Brien from The Athletic, who's covered the team for years, he said that as well. He appears to be at times tentative going after balls in the outfield. So that Achilles might be somewhere in the back of his mind, but he's out there trying to finish out the season.
But it is a slumping. It's legitimately a slumping Ronald Acuña.